Hello, welcome to my podcast. This is episode 59. Is My Podcast Cringe? This is a lot. I've had some friends in the past who've put out podcasts, and I'll talk about that later, but I can understand now. You put yourself out on blast in a lot of ways doing these podcasts, but I'll talk about about that in a minute. As people are getting into the chats and stuff, say hello, please, and let me know you're out there. And I'm going to play a song, of course, as I always do every week. Honeysuckle bees that bumble in the air, hobo trussel like a muscle laissez-faire. I don't care where your beach wear in the snow, in the snow. Drumsticks, guitar chords cover the floor. This song symbolizes my first attempt to reinvent. My head has been out of phase, out of space. This culture music, simple music is now old. It's the same song everywhere that I go. Run to the store to buy more. I know. Honeysuckle bees that bumble in the air, hobo trussel like a muscle laissez-faire. I don't care where your beach wear and the snow, and the snow. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate that. There's a song called Reinvent. It's about, it's about whatever you want it to be about, of course, but I wrote it a long time ago about reinventing myself, which I'm constantly trying to do. I'm even wearing an orange shirt today, if you're watching this video. Wearing some orange today. Trying to be brighten up my world a little bit. Let's see, got Jeffrey Stork in the chats there saying, nice shredding. It's not a new one, Jeffrey. It's an old one, like I just said. But, I know he wrote that before I said that, but it's thanks for tuning in, Jeffrey. It's awesome. Thanks for tuning in. It's thank God for people like Jeffrey and a few others who tune in pretty regularly on this show. My mom included, who just put in the chats. My mom just said good evening. She's back there in Virginia. I'm here in San Diego. It's about 3 hours difference. And oh, I need to plug in my computer. Hang on a second, too. I was gonna say too while I was thinking about it. Oh, and Dennis Driscoll's here today. Hey, Dennis. Thanks. Good to have you back, man. He's been away for a few weeks. That's good. Good to have Dennis back here on this thing. And I just wanted to say before I forget, which I do a lot. I get distracted a lot. I have a lot to say, and I have no script today whatsoever. No notes at all. I'd spent all my time preparing, getting guitar tones. I'm playing this Line 6 guitar today. Which is it's a modeler guitar. It looks like an acoustic, but it's actually not. It's totally electric, and it has these great modeler sounds. So it models acoustic guitars and stuff like that. And this particular model is supposed to be a parlor guitar, and I've got it physically retuned. You can actually virtually retune this guitar, but right now that is not working on this guitar, so I got a good deal on it. Anyway, what I wanted to say was, it's really interesting how, like a lot of people who are on the, I don't like to say left and right, but a lot of people who are more left-leaning now are seeing more eye to eye with the truthers who were just a year ago, seen more right-wing on this subject of the Palestine-Israel conflict. It seems like some of the truthers are aligning more with the lefties, and some of the truthers have split back into right-wing stuff. And anyway, it's just interesting. And again, I don't mean to alienate anybody, which is what the subject of this podcast is. Today I am drinking just straight up electrolyte water by Dr. Berg. It's just water with some electrolytes in a mason jar. I did not get a chance to drink before I got on here. I was really working hard on the guitar tones. Let me take a sip. But Dr. Berg's great. If you don't know who Dr. Berg is, I'm not sure everything he says is true, but I think it is. It's just the body is so complicated. And that brings me to the subject of this podcast. Is my podcast cringe? Just recently, I put up a post on social media about my thoughts on the Israel-Palestine conflict, and lost a lot of followers because I think they disagreed with me, which is fine. I get it. But then it got me thinking, like, why did I get involved in this whole thing? Why I never used to really talk about my views publicly really a whole lot, especially when it comes to Democrat and Republican, which I've always known I've known for a long time as a joke. There's no difference. Everything is all the same. It's all one big. We just gotta, get out of that paradigm is what I'm saying. Anyway, if you're left wing or right wing, that's fine too. I'm not judging. That's the thing. You can't say anything anymore without somebody getting angry, especially if you're trying to be like me and do something online where you need as many followers as possible. And if you say, it's hard to be indifferent on any subjects, some of these subjects now. I have a lot of friends who are, like I've said before, they love Donald Trump, and I get it. I'm not against Donald Trump. But then I have friends who hate Donald Trump, and I get that too. What about if you just want to be indifferent to Donald Trump? Can you just be indifferent to the guy? Can you say, yeah, he's done some good things. He's also been, he's done some not good things and things that I don't care for. I mean, that's how every president in my life has been. We're just kind of indifferent to them. We all know they're a joke. Every president in my life, we've always made fun of on Saturday Night Live or whatever. But now it's not a laughing matter anymore. It's like you can't make fun of Joe Biden because half of your friends will get offended and start talking about Donald Trump, and vice versa. You can't make fun of Donald Trump because same thing. So it's just a really awkward and cringe time, maybe. So I think that's what it comes down to. And I'd like to say to you, the reason I'd like to reiterate why I started this podcast, and I'll play some more songs. Don't worry. I'm going to just rant for 10 minutes here, and then I'll play some songs. I just need to, the reason I started this podcast to be completely transparent, was, if you remember back in 2020, when the world completely shut down and all the musicians lost all their gigs indefinitely, I figured, well, I better get online and start playing, doing a podcast and doing it that way, make a little bit of money. And being completely transparent, that's why I'm doing it, is because I think it'd be nice to make a little bit of extra money through the internet, which is the way of the future. Everything's moving that direction. And so I felt like it was a good idea. It was a good endeavor for me to get online and start playing for people. And I think people, I have my core audience here and a lot of people who watch after the live stream. And I think people do really enjoy it. And I'm certainly making some money. But when the pandemic started, you have to remember the world wasn't so divided. I mean, all of us, just about, I'd say 95% of people, if I had to guess, 95 to maybe 99% of people, all were concerned about the virus that was going around. And we all were wondering what we could do. And as time went on, that's when things became more divided with the masks and the vaccines and Black Lives Matter. All these issues started to fragment people. And at first, I felt like very confident in speaking out about what I thought was going on because it wasn't controversial. I was like, hey, here's what you can do to support your immune system, just while we're trying to get through this. And I think we're all going to die anyway or whatever, but maybe we can try to support our immune system or something. And as time went on, just things got more and more divided. And but I kept going pretty hard until the Black Lives Matter issue really struck pretty deep with the George Floyd incident, which was a terrible thing. I'm not saying that at all, but I didn't know what to say about it, whether I was going to take the sides of George Floyd or the police or neither, or be indifferent. But you couldn't be indifferent about the George Floyd incident. You had to say something one way or the other. It seemed like your silence was violence, right? That's what was going around. And I don't fall for the stuff like that anyway. If I don't want to say something, I won't say something. But I did feel compelled to say something, and I didn't necessarily agree with Black Lives Matter and how they were handling things. And I've never really thought cops are angels. I know cops, there's a lot of corrupt cops out there. And so I tried to be what I call diplomatic and try to take the middle road, almost the moderate road, and say, hey, it's a terrible thing what happened to George Floyd, but we can't completely defund the police, people. This is insane. We can't burn everything down, thinking this is going to cause, make justice for George Floyd. And so there's something about me that, in a lot of ways, I'm just not a quitter, and I keep doing things, even though maybe I shouldn't be doing them. I should quit them. Sometimes relationships or just endeavors of any kind. And this was one of them where I felt I took a little break during the George Floyd thing, but then I just felt like I got to keep going. I got to keep pushing through, and I still feel like that. And this is one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my career, I would say, as a musician, because I don't feel super great about having to say some of the things I say. Well, that's not it. I don't feel great about people who feel alienated by the things I say. I don't like alienating people, and I don't like it when people unfollow me. I have at least one really good friend who just recently unfollowed me over the Israel-Palestine take, and I got to talk to her and straighten it out. Eventually, hopefully we can. But that's kind of where my path has led me. I've been a passionate musician for almost 25 years now. And somehow I've gotten involved in being a narrator of the times we're living through. And I'm really reluctant to do it sometimes. But then sometimes I'm like, somebody's got to do it. And I know there's plenty of other people doing it as well. And probably people saying exactly what I'm saying. I don't know of any of them, but that's what I'm doing here. And it's cringy to myself sometimes, especially when I did the War of the Sexes episodes. That was some cringy stuff. I mean, I think of some of the stuff I said on there, and I don't regret it, but sometimes I think to myself at night, I'll be like, did I really say that in public? It's like, but hey, I think that's the time we're living in, people. We have to talk to each other, and that's what this podcast is for, is hopefully it creates communication between all sides. And it looks like all the sides are really breaking down all the time. There's a lot of infighting, I think, in all the tribes and all the sides. I don't think the so-called lefties, there's a lot of infighting. Definitely in the right, there's a lot of infighting. The truthers, there's infighting, which is what I consider myself as a truther, even though I don't feel like that's a side. That's just more of a philosophy of like, hey, I'd like to hear I'd like to hear what everybody has to say, and I'll make my own decision. And anybody who feels that way, who's open to debate and to other ideas besides themselves, I feel like that's a truther. But I think somebody who's allegiant to a political party, of course, left or right, that's different. That's a totally different thing. And I get it. People do that. And I think they're still doing it. They're clinging to these parties, which I don't understand it. But I do at the same time. We've got a presidential election coming up next year, as we all know, 2024. God help us all. Who knows what's going to happen this time? If there's even going to be an election. A lot of people are saying there won't even be an election because we'll be in World War III or whatever, which I don't want to be fear-mongering or anything. I don't necessarily think that's true, but I think we're already in World War III. I think that all the stuff that's going on psychologically between all of us is a type of war, and I've talked about that before in the food that we eat, and it goes on and on. It just never stops, and it's exhausting, totally exhausting. And my hat is not even on, but my hat is off to everybody out there. We're living through this. This is a psychological time, and life has never been easy. This is one of those times in life where I think it's historical, and we'll look back on it. If humanity makes it through this, we'll look back on this time and say, wow, what a crazy time that was. It's like, I liken it to a family having a big fight, and really talking about the elephants in the room and having to finally come to some agreement and truths. The family can't just go occupy some other space of land somewhere else and live somewhere else and ignore each other anymore, because there's no other land left. There's nowhere to go. We're stuck, and we have to face this now. And we're facing all the issues, and I know a lot of us disagree about a lot of things, and that's okay. I think finding the common ground that we can agree on is the most important thing these days. So, yeah, it's a cringy podcast. I have no idea what I'm doing or why. Sometimes I do know why most of the time, but I don't know if this is the right thing to do. It's, in some ways, I think it's probably taken my music career and my image and totally throwing it in the toilet for a lot of people. I used to have a very mysterious image. I guess a lot of us did before the internet really took off, and I really cherished my privacy and not having my life on blast. So, speaking of which, another thing that kind of plagues me these days, and I'm going to say this because maybe other people out there have struggled with it too, but I've struggled with sleep for like 10 years now. I wake up too early, and it's just only gotten worse. Like when it first started, it was more bearable, and it's so funny because they have all these programs for drug addicts and alcoholics and stuff. They can come there, and they have each other for support, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm happy for those people. But what about us to have afflictions that you can't get to the bottom of, like this sleep problem where I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I get to sleep pretty easily, but I wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I can't get back to sleep, and everybody has their ideas of what it is, and I've tried a million things, and there's a million different there's 100 different sleep expert doctors out there saying these things. And you try to do them, and you're like, how long do I have to do this? And then, can I just meet this doctor? Like, no, the doctor's so busy because everybody needs sleep. So it's just it's a crazy time where you just wish that there was there was a help group for every affliction out there. Why do the drug addicts and the alcoholics and stuff get to have their family of recovering people? Why can't everybody? You know what I mean? I guess everybody can, but we got to start it. We got to start a movement of people just coming together and saying, "Hey, my name is FastHeartMart Martin Stamper, and I have a sleep problem." And everybody goes, "Hey, Martin," and then I get a sponsor that helps me with my sleep problem or whatever. So that's supposed to be funny. So wait, that was the wrong one. Please help me with my sleep problem. I need a sponsor. The latest one I've studied is this guy who here in actually San Diego. He's a world famous doctor from India. He's an expert on circadian rhythms and he has some things to do. And I'm trying to do those. The week before this, I was studying the breath and how. Did you realize you're not supposed to breathe through your mouth that much? You're supposed to really breathe through your nose, unless you're talking, of course. But there was indigenous tribes of people here in the United States, or North America, what's now North America, that they would live their whole lives breathing through their nose. They knew it was not good for you to breathe through your mouth. As the saying goes, mouth breather. And it changes your whole facial structure and all this stuff. So I've gone down all these roads when it comes to sleep, and I think God probably wants me to know all this stuff that I've had to learn and came across. So this song, I'm going to do a song now. If anybody's still there. I don't know if anybody's with me or not. Don't get any feedback, but chime in on the chats if you hear what I'm saying. Can I get an amen out there? What happened to the guitar? I'm going to play a song called God Dog now. Oh, there's Jared. Jared Curry says, "Sing it." All right, Jared. Thanks for chiming in, man. South Dakota. I'm moving to South Dakota. That sounds great. Forget this SoCal thing, man. This experiment has gone awry. I don't know what happened to the guitar. It's sounds like it's working. It's definitely lost a lot of volume since last new. Let's see. All right. I hope people are entertained out there. I hope eventually there's going to be enough people to support this thing, right? Or I'll just quit. How do you know when to quit something like this, though? You just don't. You don't want to let something like this go because this is the future. This is where everything is going. And I've done this so many times in my life, and I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I've always been sort of a trendsetter, a little bit of ahead of the pack. But then I quit before the pack catches up, and then somebody, gets a lot of success, not necessarily off of what I've done, but the same idea that I had. It's just a synchronistic thing. So this time I'm trying to just keep blazing through because I know there's something here. Maybe somebody will invent a platform for musicians, specifically for musicians to perform and to talk about outrageous subjects every week. All right, here we go. This song's called God Dog, which God backwards is dog, and I love them both. I think they're great, both of them. from a Thor and pet your dog and watch a cartoon and listen to your mom plan out her day. Go through some old mail as you forgot to assign your task, cause the project is probably not what you think to project into the future. So let go of yesterday, let's go have fun in a big buffet. Look out. The most beautiful words are, what do you wanna do today? Can be anything, just remember to live it out. I'm here on the sidewalk, walking my dog, I'm listening to God. Walking my dog, I'm listening to God. Walking with God and listening to my dog. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, the latest thing that I've come across too is I really like this. She's a social media influencer, I guess. That's I reluctantly say that term because that's a term that didn't exist until about a year or two ago. But I guess it's a thing now. But she's great. Her name's Laura Matsue, or else, at least I really like her a lot. And she has a husband, and they do a podcast. I think it's called the Co-Matrix or Cosmatrix podcast. And they were talking about entities, evil entities or dark entities that influence us. And that's a subject that I have always stayed away from because it sounds like superstition. It sounds like, just some voodoo stuff that people back in the day used to do, and how weird that got. And even like, say, the Quakers, not the Quakers, but the Holy Rollers, with the snakes, the Christian sect from the Appalachians who they worship the poisonous snakes. And I'm not judging them. I'm not saying I don't like them or anything. I'm just saying, to me, it's always seemed like really far-fetched and insane. But these people, this husband and wife, Laura and their husband, they've got me thinking, like, maybe these evil spirits do actually exist, and they're convinced that's what causes wars. These are what's behind the wars, is like human beings are actually really good creatures, and they want to help each other and always, be good to each other. But these evil forces that are at play here in this world that we're in, they have their influence over us, and they come into us through drugs and alcohol, and all kinds of ways. And I'm not saying it's true, but it's something I'm considering now. Maybe that's what's got my sleep, because it runs in my family, and maybe it's some dark entities that have plagued my dad's side of the family for a long time, and somehow you got to get it out. This is weird, I know, and I'm just explaining what is out there and what I'm seeing, and because that's what I'm doing. That's all. Anyway, how about another song? Let me check on the chats here. Jared Curry says, "Come on up to South Dakota. He'll find me a house." Hey, that sounds good. Maybe I could afford a house in South Dakota. I just have to get a home loan somehow. So I could sell this guitar, probably make a couple $100. I figured out halfway through that song, by the way, what was wrong with this guitar. It wasn't plugged in properly, or I think it has an automatic shut-off feature. When you don't play it for a while, it shuts off so the battery doesn't go dead, and I think that's a good thing to have. That's nice to have, I guess, unless you forget that it's on, and then... Sorry, here, hang on. Let me plug it back in. Anyway, yeah, I'm just out there. I'm out here, keeping y'all company that need it. Keeping myself company, too. This is good for me, and hopefully it's good for you. Hopefully the kids are back out watching. Hopefully Jared and his kids are watching. At first, when I first started doing this, there was a lot more children watching, but I don't know what happened there. Maybe they don't want to hear these crazy talks, adult stuff. I'm going to take another sip of this electrolyte water by Dr. Berg. This podcast is sponsored by Dr. Berg, the excellent doctor. I know Jeffrey Stork is a doctor. I think he was a neurologist, if not mistaken. I'm not sure, but I know Jeffrey Stork is a doctor of some sort. Anyway, what's next? I'm gonna keep playing this guitar because I like it. What else? Alright, this next song is called "I'm an Alien and I Want to Go Home." It's a song a lot of people like. I used to like it too until I played it a billion times. Just kidding, I still like it. I wouldn't play it if I didn't. I originally wrote this song about living in this modern world we're living in and thinking, wait, weren't we better off being hunter-gatherers and living in harmony with nature? This is crazy. I think I'm an alien. I don't really want to do this. And where do I go if I want to just live in harmony with nature? And that's why I wrote this song called "I'm an Alien and I Want to Go Home." Which reminds me of a story I heard just this week too. It's a really interesting theory. I'm not saying it's true, as I say a lot of things that I don't necessarily think are true. But I think they're good ideas, or interesting ideas. That I heard that the gray aliens, so alien experts have different names. There's the tall white aliens, and then there's gray aliens, and then there's the Anunnaki, and all these different aliens that they have identified somehow. And I have a sense of humor about it, of course, but I do find it interesting. But they say, some of them are saying that the gray aliens are actually human beings that have evolved because they had to move underground because of asteroid strikes that were hitting the planet. And so they had to move underground because they couldn't live above ground. And they had to evolve underground. And that's why they're gray. And their eyes are huge because they didn't have much light. And these gray aliens somehow figured out how to travel through time. And back in the 50s, when they came back when we found them in Roswell, some of them, the gray aliens, they were actually from the future, 53,000 years in the future. And they were trying to help us avoid whatever is coming our way in 2030, which is only 6 years away. These gray aliens were coming back to inform us of how to change things. And that's why we're having so much turmoil right now, is because the gray aliens are actually helping some of us battle with the evil forces that want us to become completely enslaved to them. But the other option is that we become completely enlightened and we free ourselves from these evil forces that have been plaguing us for thousands and thousands of years. I find it to be an interesting theory. Look into it if you want. All right, this song's called I'm an Alien, I Want to Go Home. I was living in the Garden of Eden, I was eating fruit right off the trees. Harmony on my mind, I was living a life of ease. God spoke to everyone over an intercom. The speakers were in the clouds, we all lived in a wigwam. We could speak back to him on a microphone that was hanging from the ceiling from a wishbone. One morning God spoke to us and made a forecast. They're all getting too fat, so now you must fast. Breakfast was skipped and no one really cared. It wasn't until supper people started getting scared. Stomachs were rumbling louder than the clouds. I've never missed a meal before and I thought I might pass out, so I sat down on the couch and started watching some TV. Some guy on the news digging in the dirt planting pinto beans. Called himself a farmer, he's taking control of the situation, went back to digging some holes. Looked over at my friend who sat in a recliner. I noticed he was eating. I asked him what he said, TV dinner. Well, maybe he had forgotten, so I reminded him. God's not to eat until further instructions. We don't need God anymore, you're a simple little man. Now the farmer sells his food from his taco stand. Follow my nose down to the smell of the tacos. Walked up to the counter, I ordered 5 bean burritos. The kid there asked for here to go and I told him to not stay. Pushed some buttons on the register, said that'll be $6.50. I didn't know what money was, so I asked him for his boss. He looked at me kinda crazy and he told me to get lost. I feeling very weak by now, so I went to the microphone. I wanted to ask God if ask could be postponed. When I spoke, I could not hear a reply, cause there was too much noise outside from all the people and cars passing by. Walking down the street to find a fruit tree. Lots of green grass, but not a single thing to eat. Sat down on the sidewalk with my bottle of liquor. Some people threw some coins at me, but I had no idea what they were, so I got a job mopping floors. It lasted almost a day. Had no watch, I was late, I got fired without pay. That night I slept in a park underneath the stars when a flying saucer came down from the planet Mart. Hop in, buddy, I'll be looking for you, the creature said to me. And just like that, at the speed of light, I went off to another galaxy. Goodbye. So long, planet Earth. I never understood these people anyway. All right, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. J Van chimed in. Hey J Van, good to hear from you in South Carolina. She says, "Is the mullet gone? Not gone for good. It's just up. I've got my hair in a bun back there, which is I've got a special way of putting my hair up. I'm about to cut the mullet off. I'm about sick of it. It's just starting to feel ratty, to be honest. I'm wanting to change it up. I'm gonna reinvent myself like I always do. You know, David Bowie reinvented himself constantly. Beck is one of my favorite all-time musicians. He's constantly reinventing himself, and I guess that's how I roll too. Sometimes I'm wearing an orange shirt with my hair cut or my hair up, and whatever. So yeah, so that's a song that I wrote a while back as well. It's a little frustrating because I haven't written a whole lot of new songs lately because there's a lot of reasons for that. I've been working really hard on my music, but just for some reason the songwriting has taken a back seat. Even though I'm always working on stuff, I've always got ideas and like little pieces of stuff that I've got going, and I just need to complete them, and I'm hoping to get this little EP recorded before the end of the year. So I've got time for that. Look forward to that. Look toward that, or look for that coming up. I think I'll change tunings now and go into something else. What is it gonna? Oh, hang on. No, I want to do this song called Desert Dessert. It's a good one too. A lot of people like this one. This one's called Desert Dessert. It's a good one. I'm having some discrepancies with the volume on this guitar. There's a volume slider here, and it's really just random how. Where's it at? So I'll fix that next time. Here it goes, Desert Dessert. Cactus flower is blooming on the side of the road. We drive through this deserted desert. Deserted desert. The sky so blue, oh, I can see far away into forever. Oh, I can see the infinity. Doesn't bother me or any excuse to move slowly through this world on my long journey. like this flower is blooming on the side of the road. We drive through this deserted desert. Deserted, 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 desert. Thank you. Gotta have those applauses. Thank you so much. Gotta have that in there to make it legit, I guess, and stuff. What did J Van say now? If you got nothing better to create, why not create yourself or recreate yourself? That's right. We're constantly evolving and devolving. I think I've devolved a little bit over the last few months, maybe. Not really. I've just gotten, man, there's just so many things going on at the moment for me, and I think for a lot of people probably, and it's been good. You know, things have been good. I've got a lot to be grateful for, as I am. Very grateful for a lot of things, but yeah, just a lot going on around here, and the reason I'm being honest about this is because again, I've said this many times on this podcast, but I think the world needs people to be really honest and transparent. So we know we're not alone. It's time to stop faking it till we make it, I think, and just be honest. You know, like, hey, you know that, like that shirt says. There's a shirt that says, "Sorry, I was late. I didn't really want to come here." Or, "Sorry, I was late. I really didn't want to come." And that's true. It's kind of true of a lot of things. You're passively, aggressively saying you don't want to be there when you're late to places, which is why I always try to be on time. And when somebody's late on me, I get a little upset and offended because I feel like it's a disrespect of my time. But yeah, I'm a walking conundrum. I guess. Some people think I'm super like free spirit, laid back. And then sometimes people think I'm type A, and I get it. I feel the same way about myself. I'm like, I'm Pisces, Virgo rising. Apparently those are 180 degrees from each other, which means I'm becoming my complete opposite of like what I started at is becoming the opposite of where I'm going, which is, you know, a challenge, and I'm up for the challenge, and I'm doing the challenge. Walking, sometimes you just gotta walk through life, and sometimes you're running. And hopefully soon you'll be getting, like, one of the podcast episodes will be called "Why I'm So Giddy on Life," and I'm ruling the world right now. Hopefully that'll be the title of one of these episodes. I'm going to play a song now. It's called StarDust. It's a song that I wrote back at a really tough time in my life. When I was about 22 years old, I had major surgery done related to my heart. And I was in the hospital for, it was like 3 weeks, maybe 4. I felt trapped. When you're in a hospital that long, you feel like you're in prison and just, it was a terrible feeling, I remember. But I wrote this song because it was in Albuquerque, and the hospital was a really tall hospital, skyscraper, if you will. I think it was like 13 floors, maybe 15. And I was on like the 9th floor in Albuquerque, right off of the I-25 freeway, almost where I-25 and I-40 meet on Central Avenue. And I overlooked this hotel. It was a really trashy hotel at the time. I think they've really fixed it up now. This was 20 years ago or more. It was called StarDust Hotel. And I wrote this song. It's called StarDust. Stardust. It's in my eyes almost all the time. Never it stops. I think it sleepwalks. StarDust. It's in my chest. I need another heart so I can rest on a coal miner's breast. It's in my soul. Never let me go. Never let me go. Never let me go. I think I might have missed a verse or two on that, but it's been a while. Thank you very much. Hey, Cobb Irvin's here. Hey, Cobb, thanks for coming in, man. Good to see you, Cobb. I was going to mention, too, if you're out there and you're in the market for a house in South Dakota, Jared Curry is your man up in South Dakota. He's in, what's that big town? Well, not big town, but Sturgis is where they have the big festival every year, and everybody, the locals all leave town because it's too crazy. But he's in Sturgis. Get a hold of Jared Curry. He might put, if he's listening, he could put his website on the chat. And Cobb Irvin, I think he's got a new Airbnb in Occoquan, Virginia. If you're interested, I think look him up. But he's also got a new EP or album. I know he's got some singles coming out. He's been prolific lately. He's a songwriter in Virginia. Check out his new stuff. Anybody else who wants to promote their business, just please put it in the chat. I'll even mention you. And speaking of business, let me see if I need to thank anybody for the support today. I know that Jeffrey Stork supported the last episode, and so did somebody named Donald Hill. For some reason, I'm not thinking of who Donald Hill is, but I'm sure I probably should. Anyway, Donald Hill donated to the last episode, as did Hilda and my parents and a few others, so thank you there. Let's just see if anybody donated today. I shouldn't even do this, because what if nobody donates? Then I'm just like putting myself out there. Look, see? Nobody's sending any Venmos today. I'm way too transparent. Or did they? Let's see. Maybe they did. It always takes me a minute to figure this out. Oh, yeah. Dennis Driscoll. Thank God for Dennis. He sent in a Venmo. Very generous Venmo. Thank you, Dennis, as always. And thank anybody who's going to donate. There's a donate button right there. It's right there. That's a QR code. My friend Cynthia said she's allergic to QR codes, so there's some links in the description below. If you want to donate, please donate. And looks like Cobb said he's sending now. Yeah, Cobb, I'm playing the Variax today. I've done the whole show on this Variax, even though I'm physically retuning it because the virtual tuning does not work properly what I need it to. I go into really, really low tunings, and on this particular model, I haven't been able to do the factory reset yet, but so far I can't do the low tunings that I like to do. I'm in open A, which is really low for a guitar. That's really low for a guitar. It's pretty ridiculous. But I like it. I think I'll do the song that I've done one time at least on this podcast. To end it, this song is called I Hate My Job. And it's for anybody out there who is doesn't like their job. And like, I never have really cared for my day jobs. Every time I have a day job, I'm dreaming about how I'm going to make my music career successful. One time I was applying for a job at an exterminator here in San Diego. Actually, this was a while ago before I ever moved to San Diego. I applied for this exterminator job. I'll have to tell this story sometime. It was really funny. It's a really funny story. But like, it seemed like I was going to get the job because the interview was going really well. And at the end of the interview, the guy goes, "Well, you sound really good. Tell me about where you want to be in 5 years." And I just said, "Well, I hope my music takes off." This was like 15 years ago. And I didn't get hired because I think he was just like, "What the heck?" I gave myself away. So I encourage people to just follow your bliss. Everything will work out. Look at me. Everything's working out. I'm right on the line a lot of times, but hey, so were our ancestors when they lived in harmony with nature. You're on the line. You're at the mercy of nature, and maybe just being at the nature of all the forces that be is the way to live a passionate life. If you're like super comfortable and you've got enough money to last you for the rest of your life, and then all your grandkids and stuff too, then maybe it's just you're not really living, just because you're going on cruises and I'm not saying, okay, I don't mean to see, there we go again. Just because I said cruises, I don't want anybody thinking I'm hating on them, because I'm not. I think it's great. I'd go on a cruise if I had the money. I'd do it. I think that'd be great. And I love to have the money. I'm just saying I don't. and I get by though, and I live passionately, and I learn a lot. I learn a lot of stuff. So this song's called "I Hate My Job." And that'll be it today. Thanks for listening. I hope I haven't disillusioned anybody too much. And God willing, I'll be here again next week. I'm going to start playing some Christmas songs, I guess, because it is Christmas time. My mom sent me a Christmas tree. It's a little tiny one. It's really cute. Thanks, Mom. You can't see it right now, but it's over in the corner. And I'll have it next week, hopefully, on this show. There's a really good video for this on YouTube that my partner and I shot at the time, back in, I want to say it was 2008, but it might have been sooner than that, maybe 2006. We were the coolest thing in Albuquerque at the time. But nobody knew it, as always. A few people did. A few of us knew how cool we were. I went to my stupid job today. I hated it so much, but I went anyway. I hate this job. I hate my job. Take this job and shut it. I have to go again tomorrow. I have to go for the rest of my life. Gonna work until I die. Work until I die. Work until I die. used to do that a little bit more smooth. That's pretty good though. It's just me and the pre-tirees. That's right, I said pre-tiree. You've heard of retirees. A retiree is somebody who works their life, saves up some money, so eventually they can quit their jobs and go do what they really want to do with their lives. But a pre-tiree, you might have gathered or surmised, is somebody who doesn't have money saved up, but quits their job anyway to go do what they want to do with their lives. By the skin of their teeth if they have to. Beg, borrow, steal, whatever. I don't condone stealing. And I don't really care for begging. And if you're gonna borrow something, make sure you give it back as soon as possible. But that's the pirate's code, you know. We live in a world that worships gold, people. Why do we worship gold? Why do we worship the youth? When we're all gonna get old, inevitably. And why do we worship gold when we can't eat it? Or do anything with it? Except for say we have money. And then money is supposed to be backed by gold, but it's not anymore. But still, we keep chasing the money. The only thing that doesn't exist. That's the biggest myth there is. Somebody should fact check the money system. And I say this just to remind people not to take everything too seriously. Because in the end, it really may just be a joke. As a famous guru, can't remember his name right now, might have been Sri Aurobindo, said, laugh at the joke, jokers, but don't become the joke, you jokers. It's just me and the pre-tirees, destroying the economy. 35 years. I'm not gonna work for 35 years. 35 years! Alright, thank you very much, everybody. See you next week, hopefully. And enjoy your week. Enjoy yourselves. Be good to yourselves. Love yourself. Learn to love yourself if you haven't already. It's a constant process, and that's it. Good night.